Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby. If you're new here, hi again. You guys know my name is Shelby. I am a mom of two and I am also a school bus driver, and today I am doing a Q&A. This will be my first Q&A, I believe, on my channel. I posted on my TikTok asking for questions, and I also posted on my Instagram asking for questions, and I did that on, I think, Monday. And so now we're going to answer my questions. Since I use my phone to film, I can't like look cool and use my phone to look up the questions, so I wrote them all down. Let's get started, but first I need a crispy can of Diet Coke. So here we go. Also, I'm going to be joined by my doggy. His name is Dookie. I was so surprised that most of my questions are actually school bus driver questions, which is actually so fun. Like, if I wasn't a bus driver, I would also be curious about my job. So I'm very intrigued and excited to share and answer some of your questions. So I tried to mix them up so it's not every question bus driver question. So I did like normal mom life question, bus driver question. So here we go. Number one, what do you do in your free time and what hobbies do you have? In my free time, I mainly read. I love to read. I am a smut addict. I am so sorry. Right now I'm currently reading the ACOTAR series. I am on ACOMAF, the third one, I think. No, it's not ACOMAF. A Court of War, ACO War. I'm on ACO War. I'm obsessed. That's what I like to do in my free time. I would like to get some more hobbies though, but it's hard. It's hard picking out hobbies and finding hobbies to do as a mom, you know, that you can do, especially when your kids are awake. Like, there are some things that are just hard to do when your children are awake. Okay, next, hopefully that answers that question. What is the number one thing on your bucket list? I feel like this is such a hard question. I got a few questions like that, and I personally don't have a bucket list. Should I make one? I mean, there are things in life that I want to do, but I don't know if I would necessarily say I have like a number one. I might come back to that one because I just don't know. What is the funniest thing a kid said to you on the bus? Now, when I saw this question, I've been thinking about it, and it's hard because I've been doing this for 8 years. So it's hard to pick. I've been told a lot of things, and I feel like what I think is the funniest isn't going to be the funniest. So one time this girl, like, she was in 3rd grade, like, smacked another girl, and I was like, girl, why did you do that? And she was like, it was an accident. You're telling me you accidentally slapped another kid? How is that an accident? It's not. I know that that's not that funny, but I'll have to think about that one too, and maybe come back and let you guys know. What made you want to make content on social media? Okay, so I feel like I'm totally gonna expose myself here, but back in the day when I was in like high school, so probably around 9th grade, I became really obsessed with fitness, and I actually ended up developing like an eating disorder and stuff like that, but that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, I ended up making a secret Twitter account, which a lot of people do or did back then. I don't know if people really do that anymore. I don't even have a Twitter anymore, so I don't know if people still do that, but I ended up having like a following of like 5,000 people, and I would just share fitness content and stuff like that. I really think that that's probably where I got my love of social media, and I like relating to other people. I love sharing my life. Like, I am kind of an open book. Like, I will tell, if I just meet you and I think that you're an okay person, I'll tell you my whole life story. Like, that's just how I am. Also, another thing that really got me started on social media was YouTube. I started following a bunch of fitness YouTubers, and I just thought it was so awesome that they could just like share their thoughts and share their life and make money doing so. I just think that that is so amazing. So yeah, I think that that's probably what made me want to get started on social media. If you could give a new mom one piece of advice, what would it be? I actually got this question a few times, and I love this question. When I had my son, I was young. I was 21 when I had my son, and my labor and delivery nurse was so amazing. And right before I left, she was like, okay, honey, listen to me. Your baby is your baby and you know them best. You know what to do with your baby, and don't let anyone else tell you. And I will never forget that. And that is what I tell every new mom, is just, you know your baby, you do what you think is best, and don't let anyone else influence your decision. Because being a mom, there are so many different ways to do things, and people will argue about what's right, what's wrong. There is no, well, within reason, but if you love your kid and you're there for them and you're trying to do the best, there's really no wrong way, in my opinion. Hopefully that was good advice. I don't know. Let me know. How long have I been a bus driver, and what on earth? Hold on. How long have I been a bus driver, and is it hard? I've been a bus driver. I'm coming up on my 8th year. I have to do my recertification here at the end of this summer. So this is my 8th year. I've been driving since I was 19. Believe it or not, I've been driving a school bus, which, not to toot my own horn, I think it's pretty cool that I've been a bus driver since I was 19. Most people don't start at 19. Is it hard? Now, if we're talking about just like driving the bus, no, I don't think that driving the bus is hard, and a lot of people might be surprised by that, but there are, oh my gosh, I gotta think for a second. You got a million mirrors. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you have 7 mirrors. There are so many windows on the bus, so you can literally see everything. I am not gonna lie, I am the worst at parallel parking my car, but you bet your doggone something I can parallel park a school bus. So truthfully, if you guys are thinking about it, definitely give it a try. They train you. Driving a school bus really is not that hard, and if I can do it, you guys can do it. I'm only 4'11", okay? Enough said. Enough said. How many kids did you want before having any versus how many do you want or have now? Am I done? Before having kids, I wanted 4. How many do I want now after having children? I would love to have 4. Right now I have 2. Currently, we are not in a spot to have more children. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so we obviously don't have the space for another kid right now, which makes me really sad because my daughter's 3, and I feel like now is the time to have another kid, but we just don't have the space right now. Am I done? Oh, also, my husband I don't know if I can talk him into a 4th. He is on board with a 3rd eventually, but I don't know if he's on board with a 4th, which is okay. So we'll see. I guess we'll see. I don't want to be done, and I think what makes it so hard for me, number 1, I don't know how people know for sure when they're done. Number 2, I loved being pregnant. I've never felt more secure and beautiful, and that probably sounds stupid, but I did. I loved being pregnant, and also just giving birth it's amazing. I think that giving birth is the most beautiful thing. Moving on so we don't start crying. Did I play any sports in school? Yes, I played softball all growing up. I honestly thought that was gonna be my life. I thought that I was gonna go to college and play softball and everything, but I had a little bit of trauma happen when I was in middle school that caused me to quit. That, and also when I was in high school, I ended up working and doing all the things because I had to pay for my car, for my truck, and I had to pay for all that stuff if I wanted it, so it was kind of hard for me to do sports. So yeah, I played sports up until high school. How old were you when you had your babies? With my son, I was 21, and with my daughter, I was 24, I believe. I'm pretty sure I was 24. What is the craziest thing you have heard on the bus? I don't know. This might not be what you're asking, but I can't really think of the craziest thing I've ever heard. But one of the craziest things that happened to me while I was driving the bus was when this was my first year driving. So picture this, I'm a 19-year-old bus driver, blah, 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 driving these kids. And this kid threw a stick of deodorant, and it ended up hitting another student, and I saw it happen in my mirror, and I was like, why did you throw that? pick it up, or I don't even know what I said, but I was like, why would you do that? So, but then everybody was like, oh my God, so-and-so is bleeding. And I was like, what? So like I pull over, safe location, and this kid comes up who happened to get hit with said deodorant stick. And his head was like, it was bleeding. And at the time, like, I just thought that it was bleeding because it was like a head wound, you know, that they bleed a lot. So I like gave him a Band-Aid, like helped wipe it up, whatever. And his bus stop was like one of the first ones. So like I dropped him off, and then the next day he ended up coming to school, and he actually ended up going to go get stitches. So yeah, that was probably the craziest thing that's happened to me on my school bus. And I felt really bad. I still feel really bad. And yeah. What is my fave midnight snack? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am like a grandma and I go to bed at like 8 p.m. No lie. But if I had a late night snack, it would either be nachos or popcorn. Those would be my two favorite. When my social media takes off, do I want to still drive a bus? No. No, I do not. If I had the option to not be driving a school bus right now, I probably wouldn't be. Before I had kids, I really loved it. But now that I have kids, I feel like I have no patience, and it's really hard dealing with other people's children when you have your own to parent, and it's hard. It's a hard job, okay? And so yeah, no. If my social media takes off, I do not want to still drive a school bus. I kind of already answered this question. Oh, is driving a bus hard full of little kids? So I already talked about how actually physically driving the school bus is not hard, but driving a bus of kids is hard. That is probably the hardest part of my job, is dealing like the kids. And when I say dealing with the kids, I don't mean like, oh my God, I gotta deal with all these children. No, I just mean dealing with kids. It is hard because you have so many kids. You have more kids than are in a classroom. A school bus can fit 72 children. I have driven buses full like that, but right now, thankfully, I don't have that many kids on my bus. But I do drive all ages, so I drive kindergarten all the way up to high school. And because schools are such a wide range of ages, that can be really hard because you'll have like conflicts between the younger kids and the older kids. Or it's hard because kids, when you're a bus driver, you're kind of like a mom, a chauffeur, a nurse, a therapist. You do all these different jobs for them, and it's hard. And like dealing with kids, imagine like, you know how like you're driving your car, that your kids are contained and like whatever, but when you're driving a school bus, they're not really contained. And think about it, after they've been sitting in class all day, the last thing they want to do is sit down. So having all of that going on behind you can be hard, especially when they're not listening, following directions, or they're just not doing what they're supposed to do. That can be really hard, and it's really overstimulating sometimes. But you learn to block out. How do I find time for myself as a mom? I used to be really bad about this because it was hard for me to let even my husband do things for the kids, because I just felt like as a mom, like it's my job to do these things. It's my job to spend all my time with them. If I'm not spending all my time with them, like I'm a bad mom. And I really felt that way, but that's not true. And I know that now. I know that I'm a better mom when I take time for myself, and it's very important. So I've gotten a lot better at asking for help, number one. And number two, I will straight up just tell my husband like, hey, I really want to have a girls' night with my friend. Does this day work? Like, is that okay? And yes, I ask my husband if it's okay if I go out, because like I would expect the same from him. It's just like a respect thing, you know? Me too. Sorry, my daughter is talking. Are you okay, baby? No, I am. You are? No, I'm peeing. You're peeing? Okay. So anyway, that's kind of like what I do when I need to find time for myself. I'll go out with a friend, like go out to dinner. That's my favorite thing to do. So yeah, that's kind of how I find time for myself. Like I said, I want more hobbies. So if I had more hobbies, I would probably have more time for myself, but I really just don't. Last question, How is YouTube going? Advice for long form content. I don't know how to answer this question because I need to be more committed. I definitely need to post more content. Like I really am trying to commit to at least once a week. And I think it's hard for me because I just don't know what I want my content to be on YouTube. Like when I post on TikTok, I just post whatever I want, like whatever I'm feeling that day. But on YouTube, I feel like I need to kind of more so niche down, I guess. So that is hard for me personally because I just feel like I'm just into so many different things that I don't know what I want my content to center around. I mean, motherhood is my main thing, I guess. So I guess it's going okay to answer your question. Advice for long form content. I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, excuse me. I think that my advice would just be to kind of sort of plan out the video before you do it, before you start filming, because sometimes, like in the past when I've tried to film YouTube videos, I'll like just go in and wing it and it does not end up good. I say too much, I say like too much, or like I just have so many different pauses that are not good. So that is one advice. And my other piece of advice is definitely to edit out like pauses and stuff like that, so that way and that goes for short form content as well, because you want people to be grabbed up, and if you are pausing and you have a bunch of long pauses in your videos, people probably aren't going to watch or want to watch. And just think about what other people like to watch. Personally, when I'm on YouTube, I'm gonna sound so lame, but I like to watch grocery hauls, I like to watch like money saving videos, and I like to watch like mom vlogs. And so I would just try to make content that you also like to watch. Hopefully that answers that question. That was my last question. I had so much fun doing this. I got so many more questions than I thought I was gonna get, and I love that so many of them were about driving school bus. So thank you guys for asking me all these questions, and I will be back next week with another video. I am currently editing a video, basically a get shit done with me video, and that should be up very soon. But until then, I will talk to you guys later. Bye!